This is the new collection of short stories, 10 short stories by Alexander Jablokov. Arkham House, A-R-K-H-A-M, Arkham House, publishing house, a small house. Now, one of the keynotes of an Arkham House book is that they're beautiful. They're just put together beautifully. If you ever could just hold one and see, it's got this wonderful binding and head and tail bands and absolutely fabulous illustrations in this particular book by J.K. Potter. These are mostly stories of the near future, and The Breath of Suspension is a wonderful book, but you're not going to be able to buy it through most bookstores. You're going to have to order it from Arkham House, and all you have to do is write and say, send me a catalog, and they'll send you a catalog. Also recommend a terrific new comic book. Well, it's not a comic book, actually. It's a graphic novel. It's called Jar of Fools. Jar of Fools, and it's written and drawn by a guy named Jason Lutz. This comic was the talk of the Comic-Con this year, the San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody was saying, this is the hot book, the hot-in book. Now, it's not superheroes, and it's not mystical stuff like that. It's just a really interesting kind of book, the same way Kyle Baker's Why I Hate Saturn of a couple of years ago was interesting. Now, if you want to order this one, it's called Jar of Fools by Jason Lutz, and I recommend it highly. It's very, very interesting. As long as we're on comic books, best comic in years. Up there with The Sandman, up there with Peter David's Hulk. This is a book called Zombie, X-O-M-B-I. And it's weird, man. This is like Doom Patrol when Grant Morrison took it over and made it real good. It is a very, very hot book, very exciting, very strange, very surreal. Again, for instance, he said, flipping to the front cover, this character here, she's recurring. She's called the Catholic Schoolgirl. And as you can see, it says, it was the sound of mist chewing. Very good comic. I urge you to get it. Here's John Crowley's new one, Love and Sleep. It's the sequel to John Crowley's novel, Egypt, and I recommend it. It's very, very good. It's not as good as Egypt, but it's very, very good. One plug for the Comics Buyer's Guide. This is the weekly newspaper of the industry, comics industry. It's got everything in it you could possibly want to know about comics during the week. And it's full of ads, and it's full of all kinds of interesting articles about what's happening in Comics Weekly. It is a must-not-miss reading experience every week if you like comics. I wish I could recommend the best in science fiction. It's not as good as it should be. It's filled with errors, filled with the kinds of errors that perpetuate themselves in other encyclopedic books and reference books in the science fiction field. I guess it's like $50. And it's interesting. It's got some good stuff in it, but it is not as flawless as it ought to be for that kind of money. Okay, so now this is the other thing I want to show you, a terrific new thing to buy. There's this friend of mine up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. His name is Grant Kornberg, and Grant used to have a bookshop called the Hardback Cafe, which is a bookstore and a restaurant. He got out of that business. He now does something called Largely Literary Designs. Largely Literary Design. You don't have to get too close on that. And one of the things that he does in Largely Literary Designs are these incredible posters and jigsaw puzzles called Buried Blueprints. And they're the work of Albert Lorenz, and they're incredible. This is my beautiful wife, and she and I were going to put one of these jigsaw puzzles together for you. So we worked for about 135 hours yesterday. And unfortunately, this is as much as we got done. What we're putting together here is Noah's Ark. That's what it's supposed to look like. And this is as much as we've gotten done. Now, let me tell you how to order these. There's an 800 number. This is real easy. You call 800-543-5453. That number again is 800-543-5453. Great posters, great jigsaw puzzles, and no one else has ever shown them to you. We are the first, and I tell you, they are sensational.